Hello and welcome back to Back on Track, our series that basically documents the building of our model railway layout. So this is Anyrails 7. It's a piece of software specifically designed for layout designs, model railway designs, and you can do some really good stuff with it as well. This is a free version, so that lets me put 50 pieces of track down in total, which for what I'm doing at the minute is perfect. At some point, I have got every intention of buying this piece of software because I think it's brilliant. Like, you can do everything you need to do, basically. Like, you've got your different units of measurements. You kind of like all the ins and outs and nitties and gritties and kind of like what you want it to display and everything. We can go into that in another episode if anyone wants to see that. But for now, here is our area, our little dormer bit. So last episode we built the baseboard and we installed it here, and that kind of looked like that. Obviously it's not painted green, but yeah, this is our baseboard, our 6x4 baseboard. So I've been playing with some layout ideas. At the minute I've got the basic loop on, which is a lot of R609s and some straights. Basically, that was just a test it. So the layout that I've come up with, because this has got very limited access to where we can get onto the kind of like the track. So I've gone from very complicated with some inclines and stuff like that. But if anything goes wrong, especially down this back end of the board, at the minute I can't get access to that because we just don't have the room. So this is kind of like what we're working with. Essentially, it's two very boring loops. The idea is we have our express loop that goes around there, and then our little mini loop, and we can cross over here, and we've got some sidings and stuff like that, so we can do a little bit of shunting and stuff like that. I mean, this is mostly built because this is what the missus wanted, something on display. She wanted it as a town, so that's kind of like what we're working with. I quite like this in the way that all this is easily accessible on the points and stuff like that. So, like I said, we can do some shunting and we can do some moving and we can do some stuff like that. But to make it a little bit more interesting, what we've done, or what we will do, is this back bit here, we're going to put a board on top of it. So then you've got, essentially, the front display bit, which is the town, the kind of like the railway station, and then you've got the town which will be on top. And if we look at the kind of like the buildings first, and we can have a look on a 3D view on this as well, which we'll do in a minute. Some of the assets are 3D. Now, these are all placeholders based on the various different libraries you can download and add and stuff like that. Some of the things I don't have any curved station platforms, but I'm planning on making my own platforms anyway. I have a Dapole engine shed, which I think is based off an old Airfix kit. So we'll have a nice little engine shed there. We'll have a water tower and some coal staiths down there. So, we can... You go in and you take your engine out and you fuel it up. Should be on that line there. Fuel it up, and then you bring it out, bring it into service, and either go all the way around the loop. We could even have carriages hidden behind there, but that's for later. But yeah, and then you hopefully because like the wiring bit for me is the tricky bit. It'd be nice to have two trains operating on the line, so you got like express service, and then you've got the passenger branch sort of setup, and it's masked off by this, so that use your imagination as it goes through these tunnels under these bits. Should we have a look on the 3D view? As we kind of go on these bits here, you know, that's going to Edinburgh, Doncaster, Sheffield, wherever you want it to go, basically. As you can see, some of these assets are 2D, some of them are 3D. The station won't be this grand or large, but it's kind of like a placeholder for now. So yeah, that's kind of what we're working with, and all this back end here will be kind of hollow, and eventually, when I work out motorized points and stuff like that, this will probably be like a siding. If I can drag the whole board out somewhere, like so we're more on, we've got access either side, and there's a bone of contention. I want to get rid of the bed upstairs because it doesn't really get used. It's pointless. But then everybody else wants to keep the bed upstairs. But to me, that's as a lot of real estate that we could be using anyway. So there we go. We've got this kind of underside. This will all be empty and propped up on stilts on this board. So you've essentially got this tiny little scenic diorama bit, and you know, you stop the trains in the station and you can move them out, and then a freight train can come round and it can deliver goods and stuff like that. But also, the other important thing is that if we want to just leave an engine running, a train running round this, maybe one going that way, one going that way, you can do. It's just a basic loop. And then eventually, when I get my head around track motors and stuff like that, or figure out a way of changing points from the front, then we can do a bit more here. I mean, it'd be nice to have like a split down there, and then underneath this, maybe have this as a kind of like underground mine quarry, because I'm not one for making it mega realistic. Well, you know, realistic in the sense of it's based on real life things, but excuse me, it doesn't have to be based on a specific railway. It's not a specific era. It's not, you know, all these things. I know certain model railway enthusiasts hold very near and dear to their heart. You know, it's got to be, if you're running it in the 60s, it's got to have trains from the 60s. I'm not bothered about doing that. I don't want to just pigeonhole myself into a kind of like, well, this is based in the northeast where I'm from, so any trains from like LMS or GWR or whatever, you know, or well, they'd never be seen there. They'd never be seen, that engine wouldn't be seen with that rolling stock. There's too many rules, you know. So, and you know, there's a fantastical element to this anyway, because one of the trains we've got is the bloody Harry Potter train. So, you know, if I decide to do a magical goblin Gringotts gold mountain underneath there, then I'm going to do it. And I quite enjoyed that because, you know, I'm coming from a wargaming background as well as a modelling background. So I like realism, but I also kind of like the fantastical. And I think this is, we're doing things like this, it's a great excuse, isn't it, to kind of like go, well, what if, like alt history, what if it was a steampunk based thing? I mean, I might make a steampunk board at some point. What if it was a dieselpunk sort of thing? What if it was a cyberpunk kind of thing? You know, it's good to, I mean, to be honest, the cyberpunk style layout could be quite fun if you were to do something like, do you know, use the little Kato trains, the Japanese ones. But that's by the by. That's kind of like a future thing. But for at the minute, we're gonna have this nice little bit. We've got some little workshops we've got there, and obviously the town's quite high up. So the plan is as well is to incorporate some things that we've always found fun. when we've been away. So you go to Scarborough, and at Scarborough there's a little funicular railway represented by this. Okay, so Anyrail has got some limitations. This is my like placeholder for a funicular railway sort of thing, which I thought would be quite cool. So you come into town, you drive into town down the main road, you come into the big car park, you get on the funicular railway, and then you go down, and then you're at the train station, and then you go to wherever you want. I've got some Disney cinema posters of the old like Robin Hood, Dumbo, and stuff like that. So it'd be nice to kind of like have a cinema in the background, like some sort of pub, some shops and stuff like that, and then a little row of terrace, and then we've got the Metcalfe Manor House Castle, which it'd be good to have a castle, because a lot of the places we go are basically your old places which used to have castles. Helmsley, Etland Ford in Northumberland, Bamburgh Castle. I mean, our local village, Conisbrough Castle, has a castle. Conisbrough has a castle. Massive. It was, one of three types of castle that were built in that particular shape, because it's a weird circle one. It has got a specific name. I can't remember the name of it. It was built by a guy called. It was built by the Plantagenets, basically. Anyway, that's another completely different thing. But yeah, we go to a lot of places which have got these, a castle, and then a little town around it, and then some nice little shops, sort of thing. So yeah, we're gonna, there'll be some little fun light references for stuff that we like the Disney posters. The missus is Disney mad, so we've got all they'll be about the cinema, and maybe some down at the station. Some of our favourite shops. There's probably going to be a model railway shop in there somewhere, just like might get some fuse wire or something like that. Lay out a model railway within a model railway. But that's kind of like the track plan, and that's what I wanted to talk to for this episode. So, in the interim, because we're a long way from this, the plan will be for this is this will be one of the 6x2 sheets we've got with some legs. Make it about 120 mil high. Gives us plenty of clearance, plenty to do, plenty of access underneath. I might even make it a bit taller. We might even make it 30 centimetres high on this, because then we can have a really tall, cool funicular railway. Might even have like a stupidly long winding path that goes down, which, where I'm from, because it's all valleys, peaks and troughs and stuff like that, a lot of the roads to get to places are like that, or the walkways. There's a place near me, the 103 steps, because it's 103 steps up to the next level of our village. I'm pretty sure there's more than 103 steps as well, because I seem to remember counting them as a kid when I went down them, walked up them. But you do get a lot of things like that around here. Scarborough Castle, if you ever go to Scarborough Castle, one of the routes from the seaside, down the bottom, you walk up and you're essentially walking up the cliff, like in a big long spiral. So yeah, that's the plan so far. Obviously, this is all subject to change. I might change my mind. I might not do this. And with the town being built the way it is, if I ever want to swap it out. So I've been watching a lot of, what is he? KV1254 something. He's got a YouTube channel. It's been going. I've been watching some of his stuff from about 5 years ago, and it's really good. And he built a 6x4 board. He recycled his son's old one And I found it really interesting how he's been tackling this. And he's basically got a divider on his, and then some what looks to be some sidings as well. But yeah, on the other side, so you've essentially got 2-for-1 board. But all that is for the future. For now, I'm going to get some of this track laid out, and we'll call it an episode. And the next episode, I think we're going to do some testing and some running of railway vehicles, some trains, because we've got enough trains now. So thank you for watching as ever, and until next time.